On the night of April 14th, 2014, the small town of Chibok in Borno State, Nigeria, was quiet. The moon cast a dim glow over the rooftops, and the gentle breeze rustled the leaves. Inside the government girls' secondary school, over 200 girls were asleep in their dormitories, dreaming of their future. They had stayed back to take their final exams. Suddenly, the silence was broken by the sound of motorcycles and trucks approaching. At first, the girls thought it was nothing unusual, but soon gunshots shattered the night and terrified screams filled the air. The school gates burst open and men with rifles stormed inside. They wore long robes and turbans, their faces covered. "Wake up! Get out!" one of them shouted in Hausa, waving his gun. The girls, confused and afraid, huddled together. Some tried to hide under their beds, while others whispered prayers. The men, members of the terrorist group Boko Haram, moved quickly, setting fire to classrooms and destroying books. They dragged the girls from their rooms, pushing them toward the waiting trucks. "You belong to us now," one of the men yelled. "Forget your families, forget your education." Many of the girls cried, begging to be released. "Please let us go. We just want to go home." Amina, one of the students, pleaded, but the men showed no mercy. They packed the girls into the trucks like cattle and sped off into the darkness. The road to the Sambisa forest was long and rough. The girls clung to each other, whispering words of comfort as the cold wind whipped against their faces. Back in Chibok, the town awoke to the horror of what had happened. Parents ran to the school, screaming their daughters' names. Mothers fell to the ground, wailing. The classrooms were in ruins, and the dormitories were empty. The girls were gone. News of the kidnapping spread quickly. In the days that followed, families cried out for help. "Bring back our daughters," they pleaded. The government promised to take action, but the days turned into weeks, and there was little progress. In the forest, the girls faced a harsh reality. They were forced to learn verses from the Quran and were threatened if they refused to follow orders. Some of them were married off to the fighters. Others attempted to escape, but only a few succeeded. Amina and her friend Hawa planned to run away one night. "We must try," Hawa whispered. "If we stay, we may never go home." One night, under the cover of darkness, they slipped away into the trees. They ran barefoot for hours, dodging thorns and wild animals, until they found a group of soldiers. The soldiers took them to safety, and soon they were reunited with their families. Their stories brought more attention to the tragedy. Years passed, and international pressure grew. The Bring Back Our Girls campaign spread across the world. People in different countries held protests and urged the Nigerian government to do more. Slowly, some of the girls were released through negotiations and military rescues. Yet, many remained in captivity, their fate unknown. Even today, families in Chibok still wait for their missing daughters, praying that one day they will return home. The tragedy of the Chibok girls remains one of the darkest moments in Nigeria's history, a reminder of the resilience of those who suffered and the hope that still burns in their hearts.